welcome to the Limitless Landscapers podcast. I'm Charlotte.
I'm Paula.
And today we're talking about how to overcome the designer landscaper life cycle. So what that is, what it means, and how you can overcome it in your business.
As the co-founders of the Landscaper Circle, we help you get more money, time and freedom to become limitless. Through our experiences as fellow landscapers and our tried and tested methods, if you want help with your marketing, managing or growing your business, you've definitely come to the right place. If you're a landscaper, garden designer or supplier to the industry, then hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show.
So what do we mean by the designer landscaper life cycle? So this is an annual thing whereby we've seen in Paula's own business when it first started and with people that we talk to within our community, kind of the busy period and the quiet period. The busy period being the summer, where you're either on the tools all the time trying to make the most of the best weather, getting loads of inquiries that want their gardens done right now. Or then you have the opposite in the winter, and then it's quite quiet. You're trying to get any job you can. Maybe going back to our previous podcast episode, you're having to be competitive on price to try and get the jobs in, and you're really struggling. And obviously the weather's not helping as well, because normally it means that you can install less. And the same with designers. Maybe you have an influx of inquiries during the spring and summertime, and then in the winter you're trying to make those up and looking at ways of bringing in inquiries quick and taking what you can get rather than what you want.
Absolutely. And this is something that we're seeing even more now, I would say, with what I like to call the COVID rush of everyone wanting their design and landscaping done like now. So it's even more prevalent and even more important to think about this going forward, because at the moment what we're finding is that people are just so busy, they've got no time to actually work on their business rather than in their business. So they're spending 90% of their time in the business, getting the designs done, getting the landscaping done, because obviously we're riding the wave of an incredible year. However, now you also have to take some time to think about how you're going to work on the business going forward, because we are going into what will be winter. I know we're smack bang in the summer at the moment, but we will be going into winter, and you need to start thinking about how you'll generate inquiries going forward after that, how you can prevent having that slump, having the quiet period. And also it can sometimes be a bit weird and disconcerting if you go from completely busy and flat out to not quite so busy. You still got the job, you're still ticking along, but actually you're not needed as much. So that can be quite disconcerting. You have to think about how you can manage that as well. So it's kind of a perfect time to talk about this, I feel.
Yeah, and I think we've seen a few different scenarios with people in the industry. There's some that, as you say, have been far too busy to even look at inquiries. So they're just turning everyone away and just saying, far too busy at the moment, go to someone else. So they're potentially missing out on quality clients. You've then got other people who had a really busy period and now it's starting to peter off, and they're having that and they're starting to panic because, particularly with designers, it's I'm only booked up till however long and now I'm panicking. Or it's people that I've spoken to who are like, why the hay's shining, why the sun's shining?
Why the sun's shining make hay?
That's the one. I've had literally people say that to me, and basically they're just taking on every job and then finding themselves completely overwhelmed, taking on clients that they necessarily wouldn't normally. It's almost a panicky thing of, because it's so busy at the moment, is it then going to be so quiet during the winter? It's almost like their preemptive fear of, well, because we've had such a long period of high, booming inquiries, will that peter off towards the end of the year? And it may well do, but there's a very easy and simple way of making sure that you are getting those inquiries throughout the winter months. We've implemented these things in Paula's design and landscaping business, and our members have had great success. And it's not just about, even if you go, well, I get inquiries in, it's not just about that. It's reducing the amount of time and overwhelm on marketing your business, on bringing those clients in, so that when you are in the summer months, your overwhelm decreases. Because the main consistent thing in that design and landscaper life cycle, as well as the opposite busyness, it's the overwhelm. You have the overwhelm in the summer of having too many inquiries, too many jobs, stress, being on site, doing everything in the evenings. Then you have the overwhelm of the winter of, I need to get jobs in to sustain the teams, I need to keep going, I need to just find people, I need to be competitive on price. So overwhelm is the overwhelming thing.
Overarching thing.
Overarching, that's one. So now we know what the life cycle is and how it may be appearing in your business. What can you do about it? So we talk a lot about finding where your ideal client is and how you're going to get them in. but we want to do it in a way that isn't overwhelming to you. So we're going to talk through maybe a couple of different things, but really picking on what you feel like you could do and you could achieve, I think is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we don't want to add to your overwhelm. We don't want you to think this is another thing you've got to do. We're here to help reduce the overwhelm and ultimately have a easier ride in
Exactly.
business.
Yeah, learn from our experiences, learn from our members' experiences by product, and use it for your own. What you've really got to look at is a process, and by that I mean, how are you going to take them from initially finding out about your business through to becoming an inquiry? Most of you listening probably have a website. If you don't have a website, or if you're not happy about your website, then please reach out to us at info@thelandscapercircle.co.uk. We can definitely help you with that. But it's all about bringing them there, because once they get there, they can find out information about your services, they can find out about their client experience, they can request things, which we'll speak about in a minute, they can get in touch, and ultimately most people will go to a website as their base. It's like your virtual shopfront.
Oh, absolutely. I think website is highly important, and not just having a website, because we can all have a website and you can spend as little or as much as you like on it, and neither way is better than the other. I think it's all about seeing how it functions, the functionality of the website, and also the call to actions on the website and the copy that you're putting on the website. Because ultimately, yes, it's your shop front, but it has to speak to the clients you want to get, not the clients you currently have. If you are trying to step up a level, if you're trying to attract bigger clients, different styles of projects and stuff, it also needs to be easy for them to use, because the main thing is, if it's really clunky and hard to use and hard to navigate, people will click off and you've lost them straight away. I know I've had this with websites I've been on, and it really frustrates me. So making it easy to use as well, not only attracting them, talking directly to them, but then making it easy to use. And finally is like looking at the call to actions. So what are you getting them to do? Are you asking them to fill in a form? Are you asking them to subscribe to a newsletter or information? Are you asking them to download a freebie that you're offering on your site? Are you just asking them to provide their email address so you can contact them back? You need to think about what you want them to do on each page of your site and why.
And by focusing on all the things that Paula's just said, I know a lot of people contact us and are like, how do you rank in Google? How do you get high in Google? By making it a good experience for the user, Google likes that. It likes to see that it's easy to use your website, and it also likes seeing that it's informative and that it's got a flow to it in a way. And by talking about your business and how you can help them, it's going to be very keyword focused. And keywords essentially are just words you want to rank for in Google. They're your focus for your website. So garden design, landscaping. So it will naturally help with that. I think once you've got your website to a good base, it's then looking at how to bring people to your website. One of the things Paula mentioned there was freebies. Freebies are great because they are supposed to be, you may have signed up for things in the past where you think that was utter rubbish, why did I sign up for that? But they should be highly valuable to them. So what would your ideal client find highly valuable? So it might be a brochure, works very well. It might be a guide to choosing the right designer or landscaper, something that they would find informative and helpful that they can access by filling out their contact details, because that way you can then follow up with them, or you can have an automated email sequence to send out to them that does it all automatically. So again, it's looking at that, for example, was a really great way of getting leads and sending them emails and bringing people in without you doing a lot of extra work.
Yeah, and also what we've said on podcasts and blogs and in general before is the key is building your email list, because ultimately if you're on social and you've got a great following, should you post something that one of the social media biggies hate, so like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, they can shut your channel down. They can stop you advertising. They can basically take you offline straight away. So you need to have an email list of your own that's built up, that's yours, just as a backup. There's a place for social media, but there's also a really important place for email marketing and owning your own contacts.
Exactly. And again, once you've got that base and that core of a freebie or something that's going to pull them to the website or blog, because that's another thing, if you have a blog and it's highly informative, it not only helps you rank in Google, but it means that you can then promote that outwards. So whether it's your freebie or your blog, you can talk about it on social media to get people from social to your website, again, taking them away from the social channels. We love social media, but there's no point really doing social media unless you're getting something from it. Even though it's free, it's still something that you're spending your time on, and time is money. So you need a return on investment on it. So you need to be bringing people back to your website or getting direct inquiries through social media. And so you have the freebie and the blog that you can promote there. You can also then use various ad platforms. So something that we use in Paula's business and in other businesses is, right, when it gets to September, October time, turn on the Google ads using a specialist, which again, if you're using a specialist, you may think, well, that's a lot of money, but they should be getting you a return on investment where it pays for itself and more some. So turning that on when you need it, whether it's for a specific service or your business in general, can then help that influx. And again, it's not you doing any extra work. So once you have that good base, I feel like it's you've got a good way of bringing in inquiries.
Yeah, and it's also about timing. So like Charlotte just said there, we switch on Google ads. Obviously we don't do it, we've outsourced this, but we switch them on about September, October. So ultimately I don't have them running all year because we have organic leads coming in from our website all of the time and social, etc. So I don't bother for most of the year until it gets to what is supposedly a quiet period. This year is not so quiet, and I don't think last year was that quiet either. But it's turning them on when you need it, but also preparing yourself for that, because ultimately it's not just about turning it on instantly, it's about being prepared. So making sure that whoever you use, or if you're doing it yourself, you need to prepare the ads. You need to know exactly what you're looking to rank for, what you're looking to get more people in on. So for instance, we tend to go down the driveway route at that time of year rather than patios and gardens, just because at that time of year that service fits us more than, say, doing a patio, which could be hindered in its progress due to the weather. So it's thinking about all sorts of things like that, like what could you turn on and when, and how could you get prepared for that. And also, like Charlotte said, you also need to keep an eye on what's bringing you in the money and what's actually working, because what we can find, and we do find, is that people spend a lot of time on things that aren't actually doing anything for them and their business, and time is wasted. And like Charlotte said, time is money, so it's precious.
Yeah, and it's as simple as either asking them on the phone how they heard about you, and then making a note of that in an inquiry log, which is something we always recommend, having a spreadsheet, Word doc, piece of scrap paper, whatever you use to track the inquiries coming in and where they're coming from and whether they ultimately became a client. It may be as simple as just asking them that, but also if you can see someone's replied to one of the automated emails that's gone out from them requesting a brochure, then you know that that email sequence is doing really well and the brochure is doing really well. So you know where they've come from. And ultimately with TLC, we've been able to, and with Paula's Design and Landscape business, we can track back who's come from where and see exactly what channels are bringing in the inquiries. Because I think the problem is people think of bringing in inquiries and bringing clients in as a very time consuming process. And yes, some of it can be if you make it that way, but there are tools, there are systems and things that you can use to make it a lot quicker. For Google ads, looking at specialists. For if you want to rank higher in Google, look, contacting TLC and seeing if we can help you. If you want to save time on social and get better results and get inquiries and get people back to your website, look at Expert Social, which is available on the Landscaper Circle website under the shop, where you can get customizable captions and templates. So it's about finding avenues and ways and things to get results in that help you, but also save you time. And if you have something that you're struggling with in your business that you feel like, I don't know if there's a system or something out there, but I would really love it if it could work this way, reach out to us, because I've tried practically every system under the sun, as Paula knows. So I'm always looking for the hunt for the new system that can help me with certain projects. So if there's something, whether it's social, emails, anything, reach out to us, info@thelandscapercircle.co.uk, and we'll see if we can recommend something for you.
Yeah, and also just one more thing to think about to make your life easier going forward, and also prevent these twists and turns and dips and rises, whatever you want to call it, is really looking at your customer journey. We do have a topic in the membership that you can access. If you are a member, you can access that, and that takes you through that. But alongside the customer journey is automation, and I think automation is key. It might not help you this year because we're in the busiest period at the moment, but if you started looking at it sooner rather than later, you could definitely have a lot of automation in place ready for next year, so that you're not quite so run off your feet, overwhelmed, and trying to keep on top of your responding to clients.
And a misconception there is that automation means a lack of personalization or something like that. And with the systems in place, you can get really specific and personalized. There is a podcast episode on this, so we will link to that on the show notes, so you can check that out. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. And if we can be of any help, get in touch. We do run a lot of done for you services. Membership is currently closed, but it'll be reopening soon. So get on the wait list if you want to find out more about membership, or if you want to outsource, if you're just finding it too overwhelming and too much like hard work. We are here for you. We are a marketing agency for landscapers. We are landscapers and designers ourselves, and we want to support you and help you grow and maintain your businesses going forward. So just reach out. We can definitely help.
See you next week.
Bye.